Business is hard. We've taken ourselves to the point where the bank account was at
$2.
Yeah. And it was one of our biggest mistakes that we've made. Am I doing something wrong? Am I making a mistake? Am I fucking my kid up? Our shit flopped.
It floppity flop.
Mega, yeah, it was
Mega flop?
super mega flop. So it was a big lesson in entrepreneurship, I'd say. You know, not to start off this way, but it ended the year badly for us, and it was one of our biggest mistakes that we've made.
Hey, Mercury was retrograding, all right?
I feel like Mercury's always kicking our ass at some point. And it's weird because like when shit's going wrong, we always look it up and they're like, shit.
It's Mercury.
So we invested a lot of time and a lot of money into trying to provide an easier way to help a lot more people with our program and what we do. Obviously, you know, we do coaching, we coach moms, we coach women. But the route we tried to go is we tried to launch an ebook, and we paid a lot of money to get people to help us with designs and building the website.
The back end.
Which I ended up doing myself.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money on getting people to help us design the ebook, which we ended up doing ourselves.
Yeah, thousands of money.
Thousands and thousands of dollars that ended up going down the drain just because, you know, we came down to launch week when we were going to make it available to everybody, and shit just went sideways. Like,
it was a shit show.
The very last week, it was like, wait, what? You can't do what? And then it was like, oh shit. All right, I got to go in, I got to make all this stuff. And I ended up having to make the entire thing myself, basically.
Yeah.
So we wasted a ton of money, and because obviously, you know, there's no refund for things like that. But that wasn't even the biggest part of the failure.
No, so day of the launch, like he had he had high expectations for it. I lowered down my expectations because your girl is just, I'm scared to like experience that failing. So I lowered down my expectation just so that, you know, because I was like, if it goes above my lowered expectation, I'm going to feel better. But no, the fuck it didn't. It didn't. It went below my expectation, and that shit just crushed me. Like, we tried this new thing, like an option for women to
do it on their own. I mean, basically,
like a DIY.
We wanted to create like a DIY, a version where, you know, if we didn't have coaching spots available, or, you know, if you couldn't afford a coaching program, or you just wanted to try and do it and learn on your own, we wanted to create that option for women to be able to go out there and do that. Now, obviously, with the people that we work with, it turns out everyone wants the connection and the things that we do with coaching. So we have that thing, we put it out, it's out there, it's available. But it really made us look ourselves in the mirror and be like, okay, so what is going to allow us to provide the most impact? And the overwhelming answer was, we need to be coaching them one-on-one and continue to keep going that route.
Yeah.
And we still have the guide available for those who want to go do it on their own. But I think the biggest lesson in entrepreneurship that we learned was, number one, you can't trust other people to go out and build the thing that you want to build. I think in our minds, we've made multiple of those type of mistakes where you hire somebody to do a job and then they don't do it. And at the end of the day, you know, for them, it's a paycheck, right? They collect money from you. It doesn't really matter how it does for them. But for us, it's like our baby.
That's our baby.
It's
that's
the number one.
Our vision.
Yeah.
It was like we poured our heart into it. Like, I'm telling you, this ebook that we made, it's literally the phases that we go through with our woman. Like, he built this thing, and I was telling him, like, I'd buy this myself because I love me a good DIY. Like, it's so, is it called, like, the word thorough? Like, it's very, yes. And you got like the step-by-step. It was like amazing. But like he said, like, delegating it to people is very, very hard. It's very difficult when it comes to like this, like, it's like handing off your baby.
Right. And I think another mistake that happened is us just, well, not say us, but me as the CEO, just making a bad financial decision, I would say, because I get super optimistic about what's going to work, what's not going to work. And, you know, obviously I made the investment because I thought it was going to work. And then when it doesn't work, it ends up screwing everything else up on the other side. So I think, coming into January, it put us in a situation where it was like, damn, we got to let some people go.
Yeah, we were like, we was drowning. We was
Yeah.
drowning, and I was so stressed. That's why, like, a lot of people be thinking, like, shit is sweet
Yeah.
over here, but it's not. Like, there's times, like, throughout these years in our business where I'm, like, talking to myself in the mirror. I'm like, am I built for this? Like, am I built for this? But the thing is, I fucking love helping women. It's like a different feeling when you're talking to these women, changing their lives and seeing the impact that you're making. Like, I love that. But the thing is, it's so much work that goes in the back end. It's like not as easy as what people make it seem like it is. Like, it's a lot. It's just a lot.
I think if you're thinking about starting a business or for entrepreneurship, I feel like on social media, there's so much of make 10K a month, or, it's easy. You just go out and do this, you do that. But I think what they don't really talk about is how hard it is. Like, business is hard. Like, I think about like playing ball. Like, for me, that was like the hardest thing in my life, just playing ball and trying to make a team. But with that, there's always the like built-in, I won't even call it an excuse, but just like, it's not always in your control. Like, if they don't have the need for the position, or, they just don't have the cap space, or there's a million different things that can go where you don't get the opportunity in football. But in entrepreneurship, like, it's all on you 100%. And it's not just the idea. It's all the back end stuff, all the admin work, all the, pricing and sales and marketing. And it's literally every single thing. And it stretches your mind to this point where you're like, damn, I forgot to do this, or I forgot to do that. And it's tough. And I think multiple times we've taken ourselves to the point where the bank account was at
$2.
Yeah. From the outside looking in, it's like, you guys are crushing it.
Yeah.
The content's great. You guys are making an impact and doing all these things. But it's like, well, like, what are we giving up to make it happen, right? I mean, I think for us, the biggest thing has always been like the mission of helping as many, women as we can, and helping as many people as we can. But when you're running a business, if it was all about the money, we would have quit years ago.
Oh my God, for real.
Because there's plenty of other easier ways to make money, I feel like. But luckily, I mean, I feel like we're adaptable. We grew up.
Hey, I am never giving up, because I told Khalil, like, he sat me down. I'm like, do you really want to do this thing? And I sat down and I'm like, I love helping women.
Right.
And I'm really passionate about that. And that's why I'm still here. You think I'm going to give up? No. $2 in our bank account. Am I stopping what I'm doing? No. That's why I was like talking about in my stories earlier. It's like so many people are so afraid to start something. So many people are afraid to start something, like, because they're afraid to fail.
Right.
But so what if you fail? Right? So what if you fail? But what if you succeed? What if you fucking thrive and you just blow up? Like, if I didn't start Instagram, like when I did, like how many years ago? Like 10 years ago, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. There were so many people talking shit about me, like posting my photos and stuff, saying I was like an attention whore. If I let that stop me from posting, I wouldn't be here. Like, if I was scared to just like do the thing that I wanted to do, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like failure stops a lot of people from just growing in general. I think, even if it's, whether it's weight loss or it's business or it's, you want to, do social media, like you're saying, all these different things, when that failure word comes up, it's like, I don't want to be let down. I don't want to put in all this effort just like we just did and get punched in the mouth, get smacked in the face.
It's the worst feeling.
It is, but it isn't. For me, I feel like when failure happens, it gives you a good opportunity to look at yourself in the mirror, step back and see, what exactly went wrong. And it gives you an opportunity to fix it. If it's weight loss, it's like, okay, well, what was I doing that caused me to gain weight? What was I doing where the results didn't stick? If it's business, it's like, okay, well, what weren't the people liking?
Yeah.
You know, what could we have done better? Who could we have hired differently? There's a lot of different things that comes with failure. But I think the point is, if you're so scared of failure that you never start, that's the failure.
Yeah.
Because now it's a guaranteed fact that you're not going to get to where you want to go.
You're just stagnant. You're not moving towards anything, towards your goal.
Right. Even if you have a 5% chance, if you have a 5% chance of getting exactly what you want out of life, why would you not take that chance? Because the chances on the other side is 0%. You're not going to get there. You're not going to take that step forward. You're not going to get any of the things you want unless you take that step forward. And if you fail, guess what? You know exactly what doesn't work now. So you can do something different and make it better and give yourself a better percentage chance of making it work. So I think throughout my life, failure has been like best friend of mine. Like I've become very familiar with failure and what that looks like.
I love that. I'm like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I have learned so much though, like being in business, but it's still like, it's always still in the back of my head. I'm fucking terrified. But the thing is, like, if you aren't scared of your goals and your dreams, then they're not fucking big enough. Like they're not big enough. Your dreams are not big enough if it doesn't scare you. Right.
I mean, I think Les Brown said it one time. It's like, if your dream is so small that you're guaranteed to hit it, like that's a failure. Like if you're not shooting for the stars, it's guaranteed you're never gonna, reach the moon. Basically, it's like if you're so busy trying to protect your ego because you want to, aim super small and you want to, make, I guess small accomplishable goals are good, but there should be an overall vision for where you want to be, or else you're just accepting being mediocre.
Right.
For me, mediocre is not gonna, I can't deal with mediocre. So one of our biggest strengths is adaptability, and I think it's how we both grew up. I grew up in poverty, and for me, like growing up in the hood, I was always didn't feel like we had much just because of the fact that I was exposed to people who did. Like my uncles are rich, my aunt, she has money now, she didn't back then. But whenever I went to my uncle's house, it was just like, damn, like you
got
guys
a house with a pool, you got a mansion.
You got like 100-foot Christmas tree, kids got all these gifts, like they're complaining if they don't, fly first class, like they had money. But then going to school, like once I got out of elementary school, I'm going to middle school, and Kev's friends, my brother's friends, they got money. So I'm seeing the big houses and all those things. So for me, it was always like poverty felt like I see all these things, I see the big houses, and then I come back to mine. And then the goal was always to get myself to that point. So I was always pushed by that. But
I never knew we was poor. I thought we was rich. Oh my goodness, I thought we was rich. My parents had never ever made us feel that we were less than. Like my whole family just made us feel so fucking rich. And like I brought him to the Philippines 2018.
Man.
And I showed him where we lived. We're gonna go again this year, and I'm gonna show you where I grew up in the Philippines. And he was like, damn, this
like, I thought we had it bad. I was like, damn, y'all got, like, this is literally shacks and, like...
And it's, like, metal.
It's, like, 1,000 people in one small spot. Like, it was very, very eye-opening what real, like, third world looks like versus what we call... Like, I took her to, like, Inglewood back where I grew up.
I thought it was beautiful.
She was like, damn, y'all got nice houses and y'all got this. I was like, wow. Like, what does it look like? This was before we went to the Philippines.
Yeah, I lived in Cabuyao, Laguna in a compound with family and stuff. And we grew up poor, but my parents have never made it feel like we were poor. Right,
so I think now, like in business, like when we do have those financial moments, I think because of both of us having those experiences, it allows us to handle that differently. Because I know in a lot of marriages, like finances is the thing that puts the nail in the coffin. Like it'll end a marriage.
No, like my mom is a real estate agent in Winnipeg, and her clients, majority of her clients are people that get divorced,
Yeah.
and it was solely because of financial issues.
Yeah, because
And
like when you really think about it, like we work together. So if I make a bad decision, it's like it's very clear, like, okay, that was the decision that caused it. But in most relationships, they don't work together. So if they both have separate jobs and they make an agreement that, you know, this is what the bills are going to be, you do your part, I do my part, then that creates like this, like I'm doing more than you type of deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or if there's one of them is working, whether it's the man or the woman is working, the other one's a stay at home. If the person that's working loses a job or something, then it's like, yo, I thought you had us.
Yeah,
Like,
it puts a lot of like financial stress is very, very fucking stressful.
stuff.
We have gone broke multiple times. We had lived with his dad in their 2-bedroom apartment. We literally, our bank account has went to zero. We had a time where we had to go to the Diamond District, downtown LA, to try and sell this championship ring that they was only trying to buy for $5,000. That's like a month, 2 months rent here in LA, and we decided not to sell it. But
We were trying to make that happen because that was the first pregnancy, right?
yeah,
Because we all of a sudden had all these medical bills, and it was like, damn, well, you know,
we ain't got it.
I just got cut. You don't got a job. This is what we got. Let's make it work.
Yeah.
But I think that's the key to all of this stuff is like, you need to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, we figure it out together every time. Like, it's fucking hard, and it will put your relationship through the test, like to see if you guys are gonna fucking snap through this process. And each time I am so like grateful, because each time it just made us like so much stronger as a unit. And it's like, it's not making us like break.
Yeah.
And oh my God, guys, I'm about to get my period. I'm like gonna cry. Like, that's like rewind.
I think one of the biggest things, I mean, a lot of times that'll turn you against each other, right? But I think in those situations, like this last situation with the flop, like you,
Oh yeah, I was crying.
you broke down. That broke my heart to have to watch you break down. Like, and Lil's over here, like, mommy, what's wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit hurts.
Oh my God.
But it's also like super motivating. Like, I'm gonna make this shit fucking work because I'm not gonna accept that for you, and I'm not gonna accept it for us. But you know, I remember one time in particular, back when I was playing ball. I think this is where it first started, that type of vibe with us, because when I was playing ball, I was up in Ottawa, right? Mm-hmm. I landed the big contract. It was like,
yeah, I was like, ooh.
6 figures. I was like, you know what? You could quit your job. I got us.
Yeah, I didn't want to quit my job because I was like, I'm not letting no man pay for me. I had this like super high ego that I'm just like, I don't want to rely on any man. I pay for my own bills. I was that girl. I was like, I don't need no man to take care of me. I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need no man. I was like on that shit.
For me, it was like she clearly showed the passion for the Instagram stuff, but she was still spending her time doing the real estate stuff. And for me, it was like, well, if I'm making this much right now, why don't you stop doing that stuff so that you can focus on what you really love doing? And that's when she started really focusing on the Instagram stuff, right? So I was like, I got us. And then a couple months later, I was like, hey, I ain't got us no more. Like,
he got cut.
Got my ass snip.
He got cut, and I was like, oh my God.
And the roles reversed.
Yeah, and
right?
then that's when he believed in me, Instagram, and I was landing deals after deals after deals. I was making like 15, like almost $20,000 with like in like a month. And it was sweet. It was sweet at that time. And I was like, baby, I got us. I got us.
Yeah, but I wasn't willing to accept that. So I was still trying to play ball.
Yeah, and then he, like, it's just like this balancing thing. And the thing is, Instagram is not forever. I thought I was gonna have those deals like every single month.
Yeah, then companies started jerking you around, lowballing you, and continuing to just cut your rate for the same amount of work.
I became like a
commodity.
Yes.
So everyone else was doing the same thing. But I mean, it got us through that time, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's why I always say adaptability. Like a lot of people talk about IQ, which is intelligence, and EQ, which is emotional. I like to look at the AQ, which is the adaptability. Like how well can you adapt when shit gets hard?
This shit's hard though. Like, to be honest with you, I'm
Yeah.
just like telling him, I'm like,
It is
"Oh,
hard, but
no."
what do I always say to you when something hard happens? What are you gonna do about it?
Oh my God.
That's very, very simple. What are you gonna do about it? Because whether it's finances, business, if it's your relationship, if it's your kids, if it's your weight, if it's your health, whatever it is, it may not be your fault, but it's always your responsibility. So the question I always ask myself, I always ask her whenever shit goes sideways, I don't care how emotional you are about it, I don't care whatever it is, what are you gonna do about it? How are we gonna get past this? Because I don't like to think of the problem, I like to think of the solution. And at the end of the day, you always need to think about what can I do to move past this? Not just accept this for myself and accept whatever the failure is.
Yeah, it's such a difficult conversation. It's very, especially hearing that from your man. I'm just like, just want to tell him.
She gets hot. It's
Like,
so
I'm
bad.
fucking emotional over here, and you're telling me what the fuck am I gonna do about it? And then that shit lights up a fire in me. And then the next day, I would like feel a type of way after him saying that to me. And then the next day, I'd be like, you know what? What the fuck am I gonna do about it? I
Right.
will fight for my life. I will take my power. I will execute. And then that shit just fires this like fire inside of me, and that's when I go. That's when I go.
Yeah, I
And
think,
keep
and I
pushing.
think a lot of I mean, at least with my friends and some of your friends, I think a big problem in relationships is being afraid of conflict, being afraid of confrontation.
Oh, I don't like confrontation.
You don't,
baby.
but I
don't.
always force us to be there
I
whenever
know
there's a
you
problem.
always do. He's a very good communicator. I really appreciate that because I am working on being a really good communicator.
Right. And I think just being able to face the confrontation, it puts it all on the table, right? We're not hiding anything at that
No.
point, but we are putting the problem out there so that we know what we have to deal with. And that's my biggest thing. That's why I always, whether it's a client, whether it's you, whether it's my mom, my sister, whoever it is, what are you going to do about it is, I think, the biggest and most powerful question whenever you're facing those type of situations.
Yeah.
Even if you're in tears, like you might not want to think about it right now, but if you really take that question in, like that's the only way out, right?
Yeah.
So, and
It's like, am I gonna sit here and cry for days? Or am I gonna cry for a little bit and then fucking...
you gotta take action.
Yeah.
You gotta be about it. And I think, I think that's a really big area for people
Yeah.
is running away from that problem, like
What?
like the dishes.
What about dishes?
Well, if you didn't confront me on the dishes, it would never happen.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah, that's true. Hey, the dishes need to be washed, or
Yeah,
when you need help, you gotta speak up.
a lot of people would just be passive aggressive about that, and then it doesn't get taken care of.
Oh my God. So my son the other day, honestly, for the last couple of days, he be having attitude
been
every morning.
But
Yeah, like an asshole. Like, I love that kid to death. Like, I love him so much, but damn, in the morning when he's tired, first thing in the morning, when he's hungry, that attitude. I was talking to him the other morning, and I was like, Lil, why do you have so much attitude? Like, why are you being so mean to your dad? Like, why are you acting like this towards him? What's wrong? And he was like, I'm tired, I'm sleepy. And then I told him, Lil, you can't be mean to somebody or give them attitude just because you're tired or you're having a hard time. And I was like, that sounds like me. In my head, I was like, damn, that really hit me because I'm like that when I'm tired, when I'm hungry. I give him.
yeah, I don't know why.
I'm giving him attitude. And I feel so bad. Like, I really do try. That is like my toxic trait. It's like, fuck, I'm trying to do better, okay? I'm trying to do better. So y'all do better too, okay? Y'all do better. But yeah, and I was like, how am I gonna tell my kid to not do something and expect him to not do it when I'm over here doing that exact same thing that I told him not to do? Like, how do I expect him to not do it when I'm right here with him all the time and he's just copying from the best example he could copy from, his mother?
That's why I love having kids, because
It's like looking at yourself.
he
like,
really forces us to literally like look at yourself. Like he is literally yourself as a smaller version of you. And you get to see like where you're fucking up. When he starts doing it back to you, you're like, where did you get that? And then you're like,
It's like
literally while it's coming out of your mouth, you're like, damn, is it me? Am I doing that? Or is she doing that? Who is doing that? And then you start looking at yourself, and then you have to face it. It's like, okay, well, if you want him to not do this, that means you gotta not do this.
oh Lord, I gotta do better because this kid is always with me.
It's hard.
His daddy's always working, and I was like, he's not getting him from him, so he's definitely getting it from me. And it's just like this mental click yesterday, and I really every day I'm working on myself, working on healing my inner self to be a better example for him, because like, what's that word? No matter how much you like it or not, whether you like it or not,
Yeah.
your kid looks up to you. Your actions, he's gonna do.
Yeah.
And
You're the superhero.
Yes.
I was telling one of my friends this the other day, and he was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to have kids because I don't know if I'm going to be a good dad. And I was like, the fact that you even think that way means that you're going to be a good dad. Because that's always what we're facing. It's like, am I fucking my kid up? Am I doing something wrong? Am I making a mistake? And that thought alone forces you to change. Like, it forces you to make the changes that you need to make in order to see him take different actions.
Yeah.
Like with him, like how I am on him right now with his track, right? And taking him out there to run and do those things. That stuff I know the importance of that stuff. But it's like at the end of the day, like, I'm tired. I want to sit on the couch. I want to watch TV, but I know how this is going to pay off for him, and he loves to go do it.
Oh my God, he's the one that asked for it.
Right.
He's like, let's go run, Daddy. Let's go run.
So I'm like, fuck it, man. Let's go run. Let's go do it. Like, I don't care how tired I am at that moment. But it forces me to get up off the couch, and it forces me to get out there and coach him. And then even still, like, we took him to this other track coach where, I loved how it was going in the very beginning because they were pushing him. He was around other kids. He was competing at all those things.
We would drive
We were driving an hour there and an
to
hour
get there.
more back because it's in traffic. But then after going to a few practices, I was like, wait a minute. I know way more than this guy. Like, I was a professional athlete myself. Like, I know how to train my son. And then when I started training him, he was like, Daddy, don't take me to the coach no more. I want you to coach me.
He's like, I want you to be my coach. And I was like, wow.
So I'm like, all right, I got you. So instantly where my mind goes, it's like, okay, well, how can I make this the best for him that I can? So now I'm researching more and more ways to make him faster, make him better. But I'm increasing my knowledge in that area just because he wanted me to coach him. And it's going to be like that through all the sports. I'm sure he's going to want me to coach him in other sports too, but he's forcing me and pushing me to get better.
Y'all should see him. Like, I was so proud the other day.
He's way better than last time you saw him, right?
He's so fast.
Yeah.
The way he moves,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And the thing is, he wants to do it. He loves to do it. He wants to show up. Even though on not track days, he wants to go.
Right.
I feel like today he asked to go.
That was the last thing he asked me when I dropped him off today. And I think, for me, looking at him, it's like, I want to give him everything that I didn't have. And I didn't have that person growing up. I didn't have somebody to lead me and guide me that had the professional experience. I had my older brother, he's 4 years older than me. I had my dad who played, sports in high school. But there was never someone who, like, really knew this shit and really, like, took it to the level where they're certified and they played professional sports and they're coaching other people. I didn't have that person. So now it's my job to show up as that for him. But I wanted to go back to something that you said before where, you realized that you were doing that to him, right? But then I know when he was a little bit younger, you were realizing things that you were doing that you got from your parents
Yeah.
before you, right? And I
Yeah.
think we were both raised very differently.
Yeah.
I came from a divorce household. Her parents are still
Yeah.
very
Oh my
happily
God, very
married.
much in love, all right? They are lovebirds.
Inseparable.
And like my grandparents are like that. Like it's literally the love that I experienced was from my mom and dad, and then my grandparents, my Lola and Lola on my dad's side, and my Lola and Lola on my mom's side. And literally was till death do us apart.
Yeah.
That is.
I think that's in the relationship, but on the parenting
But
side.
the parenting side, Filipino parents, to all my Filipinos, y'all know, Filipinos are low-key abusive.
How so?
Like verbally, physically, and that's just how they discipline. I got whooped, okay? My dad had a lineup of belts. He had a skinny belt, a wide belt, and there's like a medium size, but there was a lineup of belts that when we would get in trouble, like we would choose which belt that he was gonna use to like whoop us. And I would get marks on my body, and mind you, I was a little kid. And I remember like opening up about this to Annie, like our therapist, and I was like just crying because I felt like that was like super traumatic for me growing up. And I was like, I love my dad. You guys see me post him all the time. I love him so much. But growing up,
It's a different person back then.
I was terrified of him. I couldn't tell my parents shit. I was afraid to open up to them because I was always scared that they were gonna get mad at me, that I was gonna get whooped, that I was gonna get hit. And I just couldn't open up to them. So I became very secretive. Became very secretive, and I started like not telling them nothing. And like I grew up in the Philippines, and when we immigrated to Canada, I was in high school. I wasn't allowed to go to my friend's house, so I would lie to them and go to my friend's house even after school. I would lie to them about like going out. I lied to them.
Sneak out, right?
I know, yeah, your girl snuck out.
I couldn't imagine.
And yeah, I
Not
snuck
just
out.
like I couldn't imagine me, but I couldn't imagine like now that we're parents.
Yes, I can't
Like,
imagine.
imagine that, right?
Yeah, it's
like the other night,
bad.
right? Like the scariest thing happened to us the other night, like where my mom was babysitting our son, and we went to our friend's birthday thing, and he passed out before we got home. He was asleep. We took him upstairs and laid him in his bed, and then we went to go get ready for bed. And my mom was still here. She went downstairs. She got in her car. She's backing out. And then she calls me, and I answered the phone, and I'm like, hello? And then she's like, hey, did you know Lil's outside? And I was like, what do you mean Lil's outside? And
Yeah,
she
we
was
was
like,
getting ready for bed.
yeah, she said he just opened the garage and he's outside and he's crying. And I was like, what do you mean? And so we ran downstairs. And usually when he wakes up in the middle of the night, he comes into our room.
Yeah, but he didn't this time.
For whatever reason, he didn't this time. And he walked out straight downstairs.
Didn't even
went
hear
in the
it.
garage. Oh, he opened the front door, left it open, went in the garage, opened the garage, walked outside.
This was midnight.
This was midnight. And luckily my mom was outside at the time. She was on her way out, backing out. And that was terrifying to know that he did that.
I know.
So looking at you did that purposefully and successfully.
Multiple times.
Where it was out of the house and your parents had no idea
Yeah, and
where you were.
Yeah, because I wanted to party. I didn't want to feel left out at school, in high school. I wanted to go to a party and I wanted to have fun, but I knew that I was going to get in trouble and I wasn't allowed to go because my curfew was like 6 p.m. And I know.
6 p.m. During the summer, the sun's still out at 6 p.m.
I know, the sun.
That's crazy.
But yeah, like I lied to my parents a lot because that's just how I felt like I could do things, and I felt like I couldn't be honest with them.
Yeah.
But the thing is now, as a parent, I want to build that trust with Lil. I want him to come to us first.
So that's
It's
how
like-
I was with my dad. So with the way I grew up, my parents got divorced. They were always arguing and fighting like our whole lives, but they finally pulled the trigger and got divorced when I was in 8th grade. So then going into high school, like my mom moved back down to Inglewood. My dad still lived in the valley. My school's in the valley. I stayed with my dad all throughout high school. So the relationship that we had built was exactly the opposite. It was like it was kind of like a big brother type of relationship. Like no matter what it was, whether it was girls or I got in trouble at school or it was football or whatever it was, I always knew that I could go to him and just be honest about it. I didn't feel like I needed to lie. Even no matter how big of trouble I might have been in, I could have just beat somebody's ass. And I'm like, yo, like, this is exactly what happened. Like, I'm not going to tell you it didn't. Like, he started it, we did this, and that's what it was. Or if I was about to get suspended, like, I would come home and, like, immediately and be like, hey, like, this is what happened. They're going to suspend me for X, Y, and Z. And his policy was, as long as you tell me the truth, then I got your back. And for me, that was super valuable, knowing as a kid growing up that I had somebody in my corner and that I can go and, you know, I know that I had faith that I could come home and tell him the truth and I wasn't going to be in trouble. And like if I fucked up, sure, there's going to be a talking, there's going to be punishment, whatever it is. But he's not going to like turn on me like I've seen some parents do, where they go in the office and they're like screaming at the kid. Like anytime we were in the office, he was like talking to them like, no, he said this and this is what it is. So he had my back in that sense. So for me, it was the opposite. Like when I wanted to go out and party, dude was picking me up at like 2 a.m.
I love that. I want to be like that with Lil. I want him like, you're going to go to your friend's house.
Yeah,
you're
like my
go,
friends are drunk.
Yeah, you're going to go party. You're going to go drink. Don't be drinking and driving. We're going to pick you up. Let us know. I don't care if it's at 3 o'clock in the morning. We're picking you up.
Because Ubers didn't exist and stuff back then. Even with a kid, like you wouldn't send him on Uber anyway.
No.
But those things didn't exist. So he was picking me up. He would drop me off.
I love that.
He would do all of those things just to keep me safe. But his only rule was that if I'm going to sleep out, I need to let him know where I was at and who I was with. That was it. If I didn't do that, then in the morning I'm in trouble. Because then he would call and be like, yo, you didn't text me, you didn't call me, you didn't tell me what's up. And that was the relationship we had. So going back to Lil, like, because now he's in that age now where he's starting to lie. And I was telling you the other day, it's like, because it's hard to do, it's hard to have that control. But if he's lying, right, and then you force the truth out of him.
It's like, for example, he spilled Yakult. And then his best friend was here, Harmony. And I was like, who spilled the Yakult? This kid blatantly lied to my face. It was her. I didn't do it. Like literally, like it was so believable that I was like, I don't know who's telling the truth. Like they were just both blaming each other. And then he finally cracked at the end and I was just like, and he said, okay, I'll go clean it up. And I was so mad because he lied to me. And I just want him to tell me the truth. But then there's times in the past where I would force him to tell me the truth. I'm like, what happened? Like, what did you do?
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of like how I was parented and how I was giving that to Lil. And then he made me realize something. And he was like, if your mom or your dad were to come at you this certain way, you wouldn't want to open up to them.
Right.
And I was like, you're right. And you want Lil to open up to you, right? And I was like, yeah, I want Lil to open up to me. And then he was like, then you can't go about it like this to him.
Yeah, I was basically just like, if you want him to open up to you and continue to tell you the truth, then, you know, when he is lying or you feel like he's withholding information, when he finally does tell you the truth, you can't just snap and then punish him at that moment or spank him or do what, you know, whatever it is. Because now all he's going to know is that when I tell the truth, this is what I get. So I'm just not going to tell the truth anymore. Yeah. I can just keep the lie and I can sit on the lie. And then if you believe me, you believe me. If you don't, you don't. Yeah. But at least I know like the chances are I'm not going to get in trouble.
Yeah. When I called you the other day, you asked me, you were like, Did you explain to him that you're not mad that he spilled the drink? You're mad because he lied.
Yeah.
So I had to explain to Lil, like, mommy wasn't mad that you spilled the drink. The only reason why mommy got frustrated is that you didn't tell me the truth. If you would have told me the truth, mommy wouldn't have gotten mad. And I need to keep my word on that. But
That's a tough one.
It's really tough.
If you don't got kids, like, you won't even know until they're like,
because it's just like, you just
4 years.
I
Really,
just cleaned the house. I just cleaned the
but
house.
sometimes the lie is just so obvious too, and you can see, and sometimes it's hilarious
Yeah.
because he's like trying to lie, and it's like,
And he has
bro,
a smiling face on.
like the other day, we got In-N-Out, and he was bringing the drinks upstairs, and we had my nephew here, Donati, and so Lil took the drink upstairs. Donati's downstairs with me, and then Lil spills the drink, and I'm downstairs. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, Donati spilled the drink, and I was like, no, he didn't. Donati's down here with me. He was like, it wasn't me. And I was like, bro, like what? Like,
Why you lying?
blatantly obvious. But I mean, yeah, kids try and get super manipulative like that.
Yeah, and sneaky.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I was like that. I was sneaky and I lied. And I don't want Lil to feel scared that he has to lie to me instead of telling me the truth. So that's why I'm working on being better at that.
I think as parents trying to do this the right way, my belief is that we have to be on the same page.
Always.
Because when kids pick
Always.
up that there's a disconnect between the two of you, they'll just play you against each
Oh,
other.
yeah.
And they're like, well, mommy said no, I'm gonna go ask daddy. Daddy says yes, then I'll always just ask
We're
daddy.
always pretty much on the same page.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think these conversations are super important when you're thinking about having kids, or even during when you have kids already. Because if you're not on the same page, those lines get super blurred, everything gets confused. I've seen some relationships where they're not on the same page, and then they start arguing about the thing while the thing is happening.
I know, it's like right in front of their kid.
Instead of just directing the kid, they're like bickering back and forth. Well, like, no, I told him this, and then you told him, and it's like, yo, like that kid, because I saw it myself growing up. It's like, damn, like y'all ain't no better than me. I'm like 5. Like y'all over here fighting like you're my age.
Yeah.
So I think it's super important as parents to get on the same page with however you want to navigate parenthood, because everybody's different.
Yeah.
It's super challenging raising a human.
Real shit.
Shit's different. That's what I wanted to bring up. Your cut.
Oh my God.
So, Jasmin here has become a client again, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk him through how you were feeling?
So I was on my cut, and
You still are.
I am on my cut.
Yeah.
I'm coming up on my last 4 weeks, and this cut has been really challenging. But listen, let me tell you why I'm on this cut. So I want to prove to myself, I want to prove that moms can get abs, okay? That moms can be better than they were before. And I have never had abs in my life. I've never had them like show up. Even back when I was 110 pounds, it was just like not there. And I have always told myself, I'm gonna get abs. And then I got pregnant, and then I'm gonna get abs. And then I kept telling myself that I was gonna hit this goal. And I was like, why do I keep telling myself something that I'm never like trying to achieve? And I want to change that, because I want to be that person that when I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna achieve it. So this time I committed to it, and I committed to the cut, and I'm still committed to the cut. And like he was saying, I have become a client again because the first 3 weeks of my cut, I was freaking the fuck out, because I was telling him, I called him, he was like in Arizona.
Virginia.
And he was in Virginia. I was like, babe, the scale is broken. Why did I gain 2 pounds on my cut? Like, I'm already not eating shit, but I feel like on this cut, I feel like I'm starving myself. But I'm at like
1,500.
Yeah, I'm at 1,500 calories. And I am like, I know what starving myself looked like before, but then I feel like I'm starving myself at that calorie range. And then I called him. I'm like, babe, the weight on the scale has gone up and I don't know what's going on. I was like, I grabbed the scale, trying to move it this way because maybe it was a little bit slanted, moved it the other way, still 139. I'm like, because I was like expected to be at like 125 pounds.
So let's time out. Expected is a very big word. That was not an expected.
I thought I had to be at 125 pounds in my head. It was like, that's what was registering. And I thought I had to be at 125 pounds to see definition, to see abs. And I was just so fixated at that number, so that even though I was getting stronger, mind you, I'm on this cut and I have gone stronger with my lifts. I am bench pressing 45 pounds on each side, and I have never bench pressed that heavy in my whole entire existence. And I am lifting heavy shit and I'm on a cut. And I was like telling him that this is the first time I'm seeing like real like side ab definition. And I feel like all that progress got thrown away out of the fucking window because of the damn freaking scale. The scale told me that my weight has gone up, that I'm not losing weight. And I was just so mad. I was like, babe.
She was mad at me, like I did it.
It's like, why did you tell me that I have to be at I was just looking for somebody to blame. And then I was just really frustrated with myself. And then I had to give myself the same pep talk that I give our clients, that it's just like, girl, fuck the scale. If you're seeing that you're getting stronger, you're losing inches, your energy is through the roof, your clothes are fitting better, then you're fucking making progress. Okay? And I had to give that same pep talk to myself over and over again because the scale was telling me otherwise. And I had to tell myself, you're not weighing yourself no more. You're not weighing yourself no more. So I didn't weigh myself for 2 weeks after that. So I'm about to be on my week 5, and then I finally saw the scale drop down. So it went from like 139 to now like 133.
Yep.
Yeah, but I feel like the scale like was broken though. I feel like the scale was broken.
First of all, let me give some context for what happened here. So a couple of things you didn't consider. When you first started this cut, you were coming off of what?
What was I coming out of?
Your surgery that you had. You hadn't
yeah.
fully gained that muscle back, right? Because you were off for 2 months straight without doing anything, right? Number 2, during that time, you didn't really have a maintenance. You were just eating whatever the hell you wanted. We weren't really focused on calories or macros, none of that stuff, right? So those two things combined, what she's experiencing right now is called body recomp. Because of the fact that she was on such a big break, and now she's actually lifting and pushing her body again, her body's getting stronger and putting on muscle. So it's something that I always focused on when I went into a cut, or when I was choosing to, mine was always going into a cut because I never focused on the weight loss part of it. But my goal was always to get as lean as possible at the highest body weight. That was like my goal. It was like, I want to see abs at this weight, higher weight. So for her, that's kind of what I had to tell her. It's like, okay, look, when we first came into this, my guess was that we had to be at 125 because we were at 140 at the time. So my guess was that we would have to be at 125. But if we can hit it before then, if we can hit it at 130, that's a dub. That's a win. That means that we built muscle and we maintained all of our muscle while we got to see the progress. Everyone's so hell-bent on the weight loss part of it. But when you go into a cut, the goal is to just get lean. It's not weight loss.
Lose weight, yes.
It's leanness, being able to be defined. If you want to see abs, it doesn't matter what the scale says. All that matters is that you can see the abs, right? So that was a big, big mind shift for us. And I was like, when we were on the phone, she was panicking and she was super mad. And I was like, well, are we getting stronger? She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, are you seeing more definition? She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, are your clothes fitting different? She's like, yeah. And I was like, what's the problem? It's like, well, the scale's not going down. It's like, so what? Who the fuck cares what the scale says at that point? If all those things check off, then we're doing what we need to do.
Yeah.
We know it's impossible for you to be gaining fat right now.
Yeah.
Right? With the amount of activity that you're doing and lifting weights, we're not gaining fat. So if leanness is the goal, then we're on track for the goal, right?
Yeah.
And it was another piece too, is like the cravings and things that you've been dealing with. So just so that you know, right, for more context, we fully believe in going the sustainable route and keeping the calories super, super high. However, when it comes to what she's trying to do to get abs,
I was up for the challenge.
things need to be a bit more extreme. It's not about just being at a healthy, sustainable weight. If we want to really cut down and see abs, then we got to do some things to cut down and see abs, which is why we cut down to 1,500. She feels like she's starving.
Yeah.
But if this is what you want, this is what you got to deal with.
Yeah, and I wanted to prove to myself that you got discipline, baby.
Yeah.
You got this. Like I want to be able to tell myself, like, hey, you did that.
Right.
You have discipline. You reach your goal. Like you are that girl. And this past week, you know that week before your period where you're just fucking craving shit? I'm craving ice cream. I'm craving all of it. And then like I ended up baking this like pancake bites with my son and my niece, and there was a bag of chocolate chips left, and I noticed that every time my son and my niece would ask for chocolate chips, I would be taking some for myself.
Not even a good treat.
It's so good. I love me some chocolate chips. Like it's so good. And
Just
then
plain, like...
I was eating like some ice cream bars, but it was not even that bad. But I felt like I have threw that discipline out of the window. But just for that, I think that week, but I wasn't like going ham, but I felt disappointed in myself because I had promised myself that I was going to be disciplined. So I was kind of beating myself up, but I'm like, no more. I'm not going to let this drag on for way too long. I am done beating myself up, because when you beat yourself up, you start dragging yourself to this hellhole that you're trying to put yourself in, and that doesn't lead to anything good. So I was like, I'm done beating myself up. What I'm going to do is move forward, because we have a fucking goal to achieve. And I am not stopping till I hit that goal that I'm trying to achieve. And I just wanted to prove myself that I can do it. So I had a rough week, and I'm not beating myself up anymore. And I'm going to keep moving forward.
This is coming from someone who's experienced, who's done this a bunch of times. I feel like for a lot of the people that are watching and people out there, you guys take this on with no experience, and you feel all the things that you just said, focusing on the scale, battling the cravings, beating yourself up, like all of these things. If you're not equipped and prepared for that, it turns ugly super, super quick.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you feel like you're this failure. But the thing is, there's no, like, even though when I hit my goal, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop there. I'm going to keep going.
But for some people it does.
Yeah. A lot of people just have this end goal that they have in mind. And once they reach that goal, they stop working out. They start going back to eating like shit. The thing is, this is a lifestyle. What I tell our clients all the time, I'm like, baby, Fit Mama is a lifestyle.
Right.
This is for life, okay?
And for what you're doing right now, like, we have a plan. It's not like you just get abs and then that's it.
Yeah.
Because we know what happens after that, especially since we took your calories down so low. So the plan afterwards is to take her into a reverse, slowly bring her calories back up, and maintain as much leanness as we can. But I think for a lot of people, when they get into it, like when they face all those things that you're facing, it's like, damn, this kind of sucks. Like,
yeah,
this
it's
is
like,
shitty.
damn, this is
fitness, right? And then they start thinking like, well, then this isn't for me, because I got to live my life too, right? But you've done all the work to get to this point where now you can test yourself.
I've lived my life plenty of times.
But you can test yourself with something like this, where some people think like that's just what fitness is this extreme restriction.
No, that's not what fitness is.
It's not, but this is just a phase that you're going through right now as to get to a specific goal. So that's my main point. Because a lot of people think, if I can't be super restrictive like you're being right now, then I'm just not gonna do it ever.
Yeah, no, we have clients that are like, I am eating rice, like I'm eating Filipino food.
Eating more food than they ever ate.
And I'm losing inches, and it's like a fucking fact. Like these clients are eating more and losing inches, seeing results.
But they're like a if you're thinking of like karate, they're like a white belt, right? Versus you, I would say where you're at right now, you're probably like, you're not a black belt, that's for sure. I would say you're like
Yeah.
a brown, green belt, somewhere up there, right? So you've gone through multiple different things now. You're experiencing this stuff. So you can identify those things when they happen, which is the main thing to all of this. I think everyone gets so tied to the result that they forget the lessons along the way.
Yeah.
And when you can collect those lessons over time, now no matter what the situation is, now all of a sudden you know and you have a tool belt that you can
Yeah.
access, and you're like, okay, well, this is happening, I'm gonna do this. Or if I want this goal, I'm gonna do this and make these adjustments to my life. And that's what fitness is, and that's what developing a full lifestyle really looks like, is really building out as many skills as you can to accomplish the result and maintain it for the rest of your life.
Yeah. We don't know how to wrap this thing up, okay? we don't know. We just
So this was the Real Shit podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed all the information we had today and just hanging out with us. This is something that we're going to continue to do on a weekly basis. So if there's any topics that you feel like, you want perspective on.
Yeah, you want us to tackle.
We're by no means experts in some of these things. We are
No.
experts at fitness and health, though. Definitely not experts at parenting. We've only been doing it for
4 years.
For 4 years, but we're here to share our experience and what we found that's successful. Maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
But leave the comments down below. Let us know, and if it fits, if we know something about it, we'll for sure share it. But make sure you smash that subscribe button. That's for damn.
Yeah, like, a comment,
Yeah.
share, subscribe. Tell your mama to join the family, your dad, your uncle, your cousin, everybody, your friends.
Dads and uncles.
I'm
Bunch
just
of
trying to get
old ass people in
Yeah,
here.
that's true. I'm just trying to get some people in here. I'm trying to
Yeah,
just grow
somebody.
this
So it's
family.
not just us.
I-
So we're here to help in any way we can.
Yeah.
So till next time.